From mysterious monuments to ancient tech no one can explain, these are 30 of the most incredible archaeological discoveries that continue to amaze the world. In 2022, a small yet groundbreaking artifact emerged from the ruins of ancient Lachish in Israel, a 3,700-year-old ivory lice comb bearing what is now recognized as the oldest known sentence written in the Canaanite alphabet. The finely inscribed message reads, "May this tusk root out the lice of the hair and the beard," a humorous yet practical prayer etched into daily life. Carved from ivory and still containing microscopic remains of lice in their nymph stage, the comb offers both linguistic and biological insights into ancient hygiene. The Canaanite script, from which all modern alphabets eventually evolved, remains difficult to translate, making this discovery a linguistic treasure. The deciphering process took over a year, with experts marveling at how such a mundane object could preserve such a historic text. Preserved within the ancient walls of the Abba Garima monastery in northern Ethiopia, the Garima Gospels are illuminated texts believed to be among the oldest Christian manuscripts still in existence. Thought to have been created around 500 CE, radiocarbon testing indicates that one of the volumes, Garima I, may date as early as 390 CE. Written in the classical Ethiopian script of Ge'ez, these manuscripts are beautifully illustrated with vivid colors and intricate designs, demonstrating the rich artistic tradition of early Ethiopian Christianity. Despite centuries of historical turmoil in the region, the Gospels have remained remarkably intact, serving as both religious treasures and priceless historical records of early Christian devotion in Africa. In the Bronze Age ruins near Ain Bani Saida, Oman, archaeologists uncovered a 4,000-year-old stone board believed to have been used for playing an ancient game. The flat stone is marked with cup-like depressions and linear carvings, which closely resemble gaming boards found in ancient Mesopotamia and the Indus Valley. Though the specific rules and pieces have been lost to time, this artifact highlights the shared cultural practices and connections across distant civilizations in the ancient world. The discovery supports the idea that even in early settlements, people engaged in recreational or strategic activities that mirrored intellectual and social traditions. In a remote area of northern Poland, archaeologists in early 2022 unearthed an 11th century burial site that likely belonged to a high-ranking individual from the Pomeranian elite. The grave contained exquisite items, including 2 intricately carved amber rings, a well-preserved iron knife within its leather sheath, bronze belt buckles, and a finely crafted bronze bowl. These grave goods suggest the person held significant social or political status during their time. The presence of amber, a precious and culturally significant material, points to both local craftsmanship and long-distance trade networks. This find not only enriches our understanding of Pomeranian burial customs, but also offers a glimpse into the wealth, artistry, and influence of early medieval Poland. In May 2023, archaeologists in Munich, Germany, uncovered a cremation grave dating back over 2,300 years to the 3rd or 2nd century BCE, revealing an astonishing set of iron Celtic scissors that had retained their sharpness and luster through the ages. Accompanying the scissors were grave goods of significant cultural value, including a folded sword, spearhead, shield, razor, and a fibula, each reflecting exceptional craftsmanship. The tomb's square wooden structure and the ritual destruction of the sword point to spiritual beliefs tied to death and the afterlife. The scissors themselves were likely multifunctional tools used for grooming, textile work, and shearing wool, and their condition suggests the individual buried there held high social status. The discovery was made during a routine check for W2 ordnance, proving that history often lies hidden beneath our modern lives. In April 2023, a stunning marble statue of the Buddha was unearthed at the Temple of Isis in the Roman-era port city of Berenike, along Egypt's Red Sea coast. Dating to the 2nd century CE, the statue stands as compelling evidence of cultural and religious exchanges between ancient India and Egypt, fueled by flourishing Indo-Roman trade routes. Depicted in exquisite detail, the statue features the Buddha in flowing robes with a radiant halo and lotus flower at his feet, symbols of enlightenment and purity. Archaeologists also recovered Satavahana coins from central India and a Sanskrit inscription dating to the time of Roman Emperor Philip the Arab, deepening the historical connection. The marble used came from Istanbul, yet it was carved locally, likely commissioned by an Indian trader as a votive offering, highlighting the blending of artistic and spiritual traditions across continents. In 2001, a team of archaeologists unearthed the magnificent golden crown of Bilge Khan from the Bilge Kaghan complex near Koshut Saidam, Mongolia, dated to the 6th to 8th centuries during the era of the Second Turkic Kaghanate. This opulent headpiece is crafted from thin gold sheets and adorned with 5 upright panels, featuring phoenix motifs and delicate floral patterns, believed to have once been attached to a ceremonial headdress. Found alongside a golden belt, silver deer statues, and silver flowers, the crown illustrates the sophisticated metalwork and regal splendor of Eastern Turkic society. Its discovery in a structure filled with war-themed murals and Turkic inscriptions suggests it may have belonged directly to Bilge Khan, one of the Kaghanate's most revered leaders. The crown now resides in Mongolia's National Museum, a gleaming emblem of the Turkic steppe's political and artistic legacy. In January 2023, a well-preserved Bronze Age ritual well was unearthed in Germering, Germany, offering a rare glimpse into the spiritual life of prehistoric communities. Over 3,000 years old, the well still held groundwater-soaked wooden walls, preserving more than 70 ceramic vessels, 26 bronze garment pins, amber beads, and animal tooth pendants. Rather than being thrown in, the artifacts appear to have been gently lowered, indicating a solemn ritual offering, likely a plea for water during a severe drought. The careful placement of these high-value items hints at the desperation and faith of those who made the sacrifice. Part of a broader excavation that has yielded more than 13,000 artifacts from both the Bronze Age and early Middle Ages, this well reflects a deep human connection to nature, belief, and survival in the face of environmental hardship. The Antiochus cylinder, crafted around 250 BCE, is a remarkable artifact from the Seleucid Empire that embodies the fusion of Hellenistic and Mesopotamian traditions. Written in traditional Akkadian script, the cylinder was commissioned by King Antiochus I as a declaration of his devotion to the Babylonian gods, especially Nabu. In it, Antiochus proclaims his personal involvement in rebuilding temples like Esagila and Azida, emphasizing piety and divine favor as sources of legitimacy. While the text undoubtedly serves a propagandistic purpose, it nonetheless reveals how rulers adapted local religious customs to solidify their power in diverse territories. Carved into a devotional cylinder rather than a typical royal decree, the artifact sheds light on the complex identity politics of post-Alexandrian Mesopotamia, where Greek kings ruled over ancient lands steeped in myth and tradition. Towering over the Bamiyan Valley for over 2,500 years, the Buddhas of Bamiyan were among the largest standing statues of the Buddha in the world, carved directly into the sandstone cliffs of central Afghanistan. One stood at an awe-inspiring 160 feet, the other at 120 feet, both elaborately painted and sculpted in the Gandhara style, which combined Greco-Roman and Indian influences. These majestic figures were silent witnesses to centuries of pilgrimage, trade, and conquest along the Silk Road, symbolizing the spiritual heart of a diverse region. Tragically, in 2001, the Taliban deliberately destroyed the statues, deeming them un-Islamic, an act that sparked global outrage and highlighted the fragility of cultural heritage. Today, despite their physical absence, the empty niches stand as powerful reminders of what was lost and what still might be restored. Discussions of reconstruction continue, but political instability has made progress elusive. Created over 3,100 years ago during the reign of Ramses IV, the Turin Papyrus map is the oldest known topographical and geological map in human history. Discovered in fragments in 1814 by agents of French consul Bernardino Drovetti, it was painstakingly reassembled by 1821 and now resides in the Museo Egizio in Turin, Italy. Unlike primitive maps of its time, this papyrus masterpiece features the eastern desert's Wadi Hammamat region, detailing routes to quarries, gold mines, and the Nile River with exceptional geographic precision. The map even distinguishes different types of rock using varied colors and patterns, an astonishing achievement for the era. Equally intriguing are the visible creases and folds, demonstrating that Egyptians had developed advanced paper folding techniques long before papyrus was considered fragile. This ancient document was not just a cartographic record, it was a logistical tool, a planning document, and a window into how Egyptians engaged with their landscape for economic and religious purposes. Archaeologist Henry Hall uncovered a monumental copper relief at the base of a temple in the ancient city of Tel al-Ubaid, Iraq. Estimated to be over 4,400 years old, the copper panel once adorned the temple entrance and features an extraordinary image of Ningirsu, the lion-headed eagle god, flanked by two elegantly sculpted stags. Believed to be part of a Sumerian temple dedicated to the goddess Ninhursag, the lintel's survival is an anomaly. Most metalwork from this era was melted down and repurposed due to the high value of copper. Expert restorers painstakingly reassembled and conserved the damaged sculpture, which is now celebrated as one of the largest surviving examples of ancient Mesopotamian metal artistry. Measuring over a meter wide, it speaks not only to the craftsmanship of early Sumerian metallurgists, but also to the spiritual and ceremonial importance of sacred architecture in one of the world's oldest civilizations. In 1879 in Forsbrook, Staffordshire, the Forsbrook pendant is a stunning example of Anglo-Saxon jewellery that fuses Roman legacy with medieval innovation. The pendant, just 1.4 inches in diameter, consists of a 4th century Roman gold coin mounted in a 7th century Anglo-Saxon gold cloisonné setting, decorated with delicate garnet and blue glass inlays. With zoomorphic designs on its loop and intricate gold filigree, it reflects the Anglo-Saxon practice of reworking earlier Roman materials into symbols of status and identity. Likely worn by a woman of high social standing, the pendant represents a continuity of power and belief through changing times. The use of Roman glass and gold alongside Anglo-Saxon artistry suggests a reverence for Rome's imperial past and an evolving sense of craftsmanship and identity in early medieval Britain. One of the most enchanting mechanical marvels of the 18th century, the Silver Swan automaton, resides at the Bowes Museum in Barnard Castle, England. Built in 1773 by master clockmaker James Cox and inventor John Joseph Merlin, this life-size silver sculpture rests on a bed of spinning glass rods designed to resemble a shimmering stream. When wound up, the swan preens, turns its head gracefully, and appears to pluck a fish from the water. An extraordinary feat of early engineering and artistry, accompanied by a music box. The mechanism recreates natural movements with surprising realism. Originally displayed in London and Paris before being purchased by the museum's founder in 1872, the automaton lost parts of its original setup, including a decorative waterfall. Still, it remains a beloved centerpiece, both whimsical and technically impressive. Beneath the murky waters of the Gulf of Mexico, just off the coast of Alabama, lies a silent, ancient world. A submerged forest of cypress trees dating back 60,000 years. Long hidden under thick layers of sand and sediment, this forgotten woodland was only rediscovered in recent years, thanks in part to the disruptive force of Hurricane Katrina. As the storm ripped through the region, it dislodged the protective layers of mud that had entombed the trees, exposing the forest floor for the first time in tens of thousands of years and presenting modern science with a time capsule from Earth's distant past. When divers finally descended to explore the site in 2020, they found something astonishing. The trees were still largely intact, with bark still clinging to their trunks and the wood inside retaining its original coloration. The forest, now underwater, had remained perfectly preserved thanks to the lack of oxygen and the insulating sediment that had sealed it off from the elements. This unique environment halted the natural decay process that would have otherwise reduced the trees to mere fossils, allowing scientists a rare glimpse into the prehistoric ecosystem that once thrived in what is now seabed. In the final months of 2018, two seasoned divers, Steve Hathaway and Andrew Buttle, were exploring the waters off the coast of New Zealand when they came across something astonishing. Something they had never seen before in all their years underwater. Gliding silently through the ocean depths was a massive, translucent creature stretching approximately 30 feet in length, resembling a giant undulating worm. Its graceful, almost hypnotic movements gave it an ethereal quality, as though it were a piece of the sea itself come to life. Luckily for the scientific community and the rest of the world, they had brought their cameras along and captured this surreal encounter in full detail. Describing the creature, the divers noted that it appeared hollow, almost as if it were a gigantic windsock drifting on a current, its form subtly changing shape and pulsating as if in response to their presence. Scientists who examined the footage theorized that the mysterious organism was likely a pyrosome, a colonial creature made up of thousands, sometimes millions, of tiny individual zooids working together as a single entity. These zooids form a tubular structure and coordinate their movement and feeding, creating what can only be described as a living spaceship, a luminous, shape-shifting body that drifts through the ocean feeding on plankton. In 2016, during a routine archaeological excavation ahead of a housing development project in Buckinghamshire, England, researchers made a rare and rather unusual discovery, one that was both intriguing and foul-smelling. Hidden deep within the waterlogged remains of a Roman well, they uncovered a woven basket containing 3 chicken eggs. What made the find truly remarkable was the fact that the eggs had remained completely intact after nearly 1,700 years underground. An incredibly rare feat given how fragile such items typically are over time. As the archaeologists attempted to recover the delicate eggs, tragedy struck. One of the eggs accidentally cracked open, releasing a putrid stench so unbearable that work on the site had to be temporarily halted. The smell was a reminder that what they were dealing with was not fossilized or mineralized, but something preserved in its organic form. Such preservation is likely due to the oxygen-free conditions within the well's muddy, watery depths, which shielded the eggs and other artifacts from decomposition. Alongside the eggs, the team also unearthed Roman coins, shoes, and tools, offering further evidence that the well may have held ceremonial or cultural significance. In the middle of the Pacific Ocean, concealed beneath the tranquil turquoise waters of Truk Lagoon, now Chuk Lagoon, lies one of the most haunting and historically significant underwater graveyards on Earth. Once a formidable Japanese naval base during World War II, the lagoon became the site of Operation Hailstone in 1944, a massive American assault that destroyed over 60 Japanese ships and 275 aircraft in just 2 days. These wrecks have remained undisturbed at the lagoon's bottom, turning the area into what's now known as the Ghost Fleet of Truk Lagoon. The clarity of the lagoon's waters allows for an eerily detailed view of the wrecks, which lie strewn across the seabed in various states of disrepair. Explorers and divers, including legendary marine adventurer Jacques Cousteau, have marveled at the sunken ships still filled with wartime cargo. Fighter planes, tanks, mines, and even personal belongings like boots, cutlery, and handwritten letters. It's like stepping into a time capsule, a frozen battlefield where human stories and military history coexist beneath the waves. Some vessels even contain the skeletal remains of crew members, a stark reminder of the lives lost during the war. The Apollo 11 mission is widely remembered as one of humanity's greatest achievements, landing the first humans on the moon and safely bringing them back. But long before Neil Armstrong took that famous first step, a colossal burst of fire and smoke had to lift the Saturn V rocket off the Earth. The engines responsible for that historic liftoff, the mighty F-1 rocket engines, were discarded into the Atlantic Ocean after separation during flight, forgotten beneath the waves for decades. That is, until 2013, when Amazon founder Jeff Bezos, a lifelong space enthusiast, funded a private expedition to locate and retrieve these submerged relics from the bottom of the sea. It took weeks of deep-sea exploration and robotic assistance to finally locate the massive engines, resting nearly 3 miles below the ocean surface. Standing over 20 feet tall and weighing around 18,000 pounds each, these engines were in surprisingly good condition considering their violent descent and decades underwater. Although NASA was initially uncertain whether these were specifically from Apollo 11, serial numbers recovered later helped confirm at least one belonged to the mission that took humans to the moon. While some components were too large or fragile to recover, many parts were restored and are now displayed in museums, connecting Earth's oceans to our greatest journey beyond it. Off the coast of Ilot, Israel, an abandoned relic of human ambition and novelty sits quietly beneath the sea. Once envisioned as a bold and quirky underwater attraction, the Nympha's Show Bar was a strip club constructed beneath the waves, accessible via a bridge that led visitors through a tunnel and down a submerged staircase. It opened with glitz and gimmick, inviting people to descend into an aquatic nightclub experience unlike any other. But like many extravagant ventures, it soon failed to attract enough attention and closed its doors, never to reopen. Today, the underwater club has been reclaimed, not by humans, but by marine life. When diver and photographer Gil Koplovitz rediscovered it in 2013, he found that the chrome fixtures still gleamed, the bar and tables were still arranged as if expecting guests, and a bottle of water even sat untouched on one table. Far below the surface of the ocean, where sunlight can never reach and pressure is immense enough to crush steel, nature has found a way to flourish. In 2007, scientists exploring a volcanic ridge near Costa Rica discovered the largest black smoker hydrothermal vent ever recorded, an underwater chimney blasting superheated, mineral-rich water from the Earth's crust. This particular vent, later named the Medusa Hydrothermal Vent Field, lies a staggering 8,500 feet beneath the sea in one of the most extreme environments known to life. What makes this underwater inferno even more fascinating is what thrives around it. Despite water temperatures reaching 635 degrees, 335 degrees, hot enough to boil on the surface, the crushing pressure of the deep sea prevents it from vaporizing. The tale of the Helmhooker is one of transformation, from humble merchant vessel to drug smuggler to deep sea legend. Built in the Netherlands in 1951, the ship spent its early life performing regular commercial shipping duties. But as the years passed and the ship aged, it fell into the hands of a drug trafficking operation. In 1984, while docked at Bonaire's port, the Helmhooker was raided by authorities who uncovered a false bulkhead concealing over 25,000 pounds of cannabis. With the crew arrested and the ship impounded, there was no one left to care for her. Left abandoned in port, the vessel eventually took on water, listed to one side, and finally sank into the sea on September 12, 1984. But rather than being forgotten, the Helmhooker found a second life as an underwater attraction. Resting about 100 feet below the surface, she became a popular dive site, attracting marine life and scuba adventurers from around the world. Just off the coast of Key Biscayne, Florida, lies one of the most hauntingly beautiful marine installations on Earth, the Neptune Memorial Reef, designed in 2007 by artist Kim Brandel. At first glance, it looks like the ruins of an ancient city with ornate arches, lion statues, and stone structures that appear to have been sunken centuries ago. But this is no lost civilization. It's a modern underwater cemetery where the cremated remains of loved ones are mixed into sculptures, becoming part of a vibrant artificial reef. Spanning over 16 acres, the site serves both as a final resting place and a living reef designed to foster marine biodiversity. Brandel hopes to expand it into the largest human-made reef in the world, blending remembrance with sustainability, allowing mourners and marine life to coexist beneath the waves. Beneath the turquoise waters off Nassau, Bahamas, stands a colossal underwater sculpture known as Ocean Atlas, created in 2014 by renowned sculptor and environmentalist Jason DeCaires Taylor. Towering over 18 feet tall and weighing more than 60 tons, the statue depicts a young Bahamian girl, kneeling with the weight of the ocean on her shoulders, echoing the ancient Greek myth of Atlas. But unlike myth, this work is grounded in a message of environmental responsibility. Crafted from sustainable materials with a neutral pH to encourage coral growth and marine life. Ocean Atlas is not only the largest underwater sculpture in the world, but also a powerful visual plea to protect our oceans from destruction, reminding divers and viewers alike that the burden of preserving nature is one we all share. In the early 1960s, legendary ocean explorer Jacques Cousteau attempted to turn science fiction into reality by creating Precontinent 2, an underwater habitat stationed off the coast of Sudan. This submerged village, part of a larger project to test the limits of human endurance and aquatic living, featured everything from telephones, radios, and surveillance cameras to a small library, and even a pet parrot trained to signal when oxygen levels dropped too low. Residents of the habitat lived at depth for weeks, pushing the boundaries of what was possible beneath the sea. Though Cousteau eventually abandoned the project due to concerns about its funding from the oil industry, the habitat itself still exists, and remarkably still holds air, standing as a silent, submerged monument to a dream of underwater colonization that once captivated the world. Near the Greek island of Zakynthos, resting just beneath the coastal waters, are a series of eerie, geometric stone formations, some shaped like circular platforms, others resembling colonnades and pavements, sparking theories that they might be the ruins of a long-forgotten civilization, perhaps even connected to the legend of Atlantis. Divers marveled at the architectural precision of these submerged structures, but when scientists investigated, they proposed a more humble, though no less fascinating, explanation. The formations were created 5 million years ago by microbes feeding on methane gas, forming natural cement-like shapes in the process. While geologists insist the structures are a natural phenomenon, skeptics point to the strange symmetry and placement as signs of human design. Sailors have reported sailing through glowing seas for centuries, but it wasn't until satellite images in recent years confirmed the phenomenon known as the Milky Sea. Stretching across thousands of square miles, this rare event makes the ocean appear to glow with a ghostly blue-white light, sometimes for days. Scientists believe it's caused by bioluminescent bacteria working together in massive colonies, but the exact mechanisms remain mysterious and difficult to study, since it's nearly impossible to predict or locate in real time. Discovered by sonar in 2011 at the bottom of the Baltic Sea, this strange, disc-shaped formation has stirred intense speculation. Some claim it's a sunken UFO with its perfect round shape and odd staircase-like features. Others argue it's just a glacial deposit, a natural rock formation shaped by Ice Age movements. But with divers reporting strange electronic interference near the site and its unusual design, the Baltic Sea anomaly remains one of the ocean's strangest underwater puzzles.